record. All right. So for those of you who are not here and watching the recording, I forgot to start the recording on time, so I apologize. But make sure you check your classroom for the assignments that you need to complete for today. All right. The types of conflict. There are two categories of conflict, internal and external. Internal conflict happens when a person experiences a conflict with his or her own heart, mind, or conscience. External conflict happens when a person experiences a conflict caused by an outside source. Okay. So internal, person versus self. When a story has a person versus self conflict, the main character battles him or herself. He or she may lack the confidence or ability. He or she may have to make difficult choices, or he or she may have to address personal problems. The key here is that the battle occurs within the character. Okay. So for example, Alexa caught her friend Jamie stealing from a classmate. Now Alexa must choose between keeping her friendship with Jamie and doing the right thing. That's a pretty simple example of internal conflict, right? Figuring out whether or not you want to tell on your best friend, right? That's a pretty good, a simple example of internal conflict, right? You know, you see something wrong and you know something, it's going to mess up somebody that you care about, right? Should you tell on them or should you not? That's a pretty simple example. Everybody understand the idea of internal conflict? That's a pretty self-explanatory type of thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. External conflicts. There's a few different types of external conflicts. All right. There's person versus person. All right. That's pretty self-explanatory. That's people versus people, or, you know, character clashes with another person. It doesn't always happen to be another person. It can be animals, for instance. So Jimmy and Eric compete for the same position on a baseball team. All right. So, but, you know, if you have animals, you know, compete for the same thing. So person versus society. With this type of conflict, the main character challenges a law, tradition, or institution. The main character or characters may battle against the forces that represent these institutions. Okay, so an example of this, Vanessa makes an art project protesting brutality. Her art teacher loves the project and tries to feature it in the town art show, but the county commission rejects the project. Now Vanessa, her art teacher, are going to fight the freedom of expression. Okay, so did anyone read Anthem in the 11th grade, or Anthem at all, like in high school? The Anthem, the book Anthem? Okay, I know some of you as well. So Anthem is a book about society and how about The Giver? Did y'all ever read The Giver? You ever seen The Giver? Okay, that's a classic person versus society conflict. Okay, because they are trying to go against the status quo. They are trying to fight against the traditions of what they were raised with. All right, you see what that's talking about? They're fighting against society, going against what they believe. Okay. All right, person versus nature. When a story has a person versus nature conflict, the main character fights to endure or overcome forces of nature. He or she may struggle to survive harsh elements, navigate through disaster, or meet his or her basic needs. Stories with this type of conflict may occur in wilderness often, but they can occur in urban settings too. So an example of that would be Alex and Scott are out to sea on a small fishing boat when a large storm hits after their boat flips over and sinks during the storm. Alex and Scott struggle to make it back off the shore. Just when they think things can't get any worse, they see a dark fin circling the shore. And Jaws. Yeah, Jaws. Anything like that. Any movies with earthquakes? Day After Tomorrow, anything like that? You know, movies, I know y'all like to watch movies, right? No? No one likes to watch movies. You guys don't like to watch movies? I'm shocked. Or y'all just not awake yet? Maybe it's the awake part. I'll go with the awake part. I'll be like, y'all are not awake yet. Okay, I'll go with that. All right. So it's anything that has to do with nature. So like if you have like there's you know, Into the Wild. the, oh gosh, it just left me. Brave New World, anything like that that has to deal with nature, like where you are fighting against the elements of nature. Okay. There's one, oh gosh, what is that? There's one where they're climbing Mount Everest, and it's actually based on a true story, where they're climbing Mount Everest, and oh shoot, I forgot the name of it. 127 Hours. Anyone ever seen that one or read that book? Okay, that's the guy who got trapped and he had to actually cut his arm off so that he could get untrapped. He was trapped with a boulder in a cliff and like in a crevice. He was out hiking and he fell. Okay, hang on. Seen the movie? Okay, so he fell into a I don't know what they're called, but he fell like really deep into like a crevice in the rocks, and he wasn't with anybody. He didn't have anyone with him at all. He didn't have a radio. He didn't have phone and nothing. And a huge boulder came down and smashed his arm, and he couldn't get free. He was down there for days. And the only way that he'd get himself free was to cut his arm off. And that was a true story. So, you know, again, person versus nature. So, person versus supernatural. You all should know this one really well because of something that we read earlier in the year. In stories of this type of conflict, the main character resists forces that are not in this world. He or she may battle monsters or strange creatures. He or she may challenge with magical powers or encounter hostile aliens. The key to this conflict is the forces are not of this world and threaten the main character. Where have we seen this before this year? Where have we seen this before this year? Come on. Where have we seen the supernatural conflict this year? Hamlet. Very good. Yes, Hamlet. Yes, Hamlet. Poor Hamlet. I had to deal with his ghostly father. So, yes, Hamlet. All right. Person versus technology. Yes, our technology. We deal with that battle every day, do we not? So in the story, this type of conflict where the main character resists technological forces. He or she may battle robots or hostile computers, or they just may struggle to accept the use of technology in a changing world. Okay, so there's a movie that I'll never forget that when it first came out. That I always go back to this whenever I see it. But have anyone ever seen iRobot? Classic person versus technology. Classic. Okay, it's Will Smith. He hates robots. Everything. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Will Smith. If you like Will Smith, you'll love the movie. Anyway. So very much resisting technology, things like that. So you don't have to do this. This is just practice for you. I wanted to give you this as something that you could use if you needed it. I'm not asking you to do the practice part of this, okay? I just wanted to review this with you because I think that you all can understand how to do this and understand the conflicts and things like that that are included in literature. But your job is to, after you read chapter 6 and 7, I want you to complete this information here, okay? Which is identify 2 internal conflicts and 2 external conflicts in chapter 6 and 7, okay? Decide what kind of conflict it is and how they can connect to the motif you are tracing, okay? And then analyze the conflict as both a moral and ethical critic. All right, so keep that in mind, guys. You are analyzing this as a moral and ethical critic, and you are analyzing it in your motif as your motif. So you've got to think about those things. Make sure that you include your motif on here. Okay, include your motif on here. And then when you are writing a summary, okay, I'm noticing some things on summaries that you guys, when I'm seeing some summaries on here, you need to include the who, what, when, where, why, and how when you are writing a summary. Some of you have the most awesome summaries I've ever seen, and I love it. Some of you have one sentence. That's not a summary. Okay. A summary is not one sentence, guys. As seniors, I didn't expect to have to tell you that, but a summary is you telling me the who, what, when, where, why, and how of the chapter. Okay. What happened in the chapter, why it's happening, what's going on, who's involved. I mean, everything in your own words. Okay. That's a summary of a chapter when you're giving me a summary. So when you're doing a summary of a conflict, it's the same concept. What's going on, who's involved, why is it happening? Things like that. Okay. Does that make sense? You guys with me? I want to make sure that you are understanding the information that you're telling me. Okay. If you're giving me one sentence, I don't know if you're understanding the information that you're telling me. Okay. So some of you got counted off on some of your tracking sheets because of that. And if that's the case, if I can't understand that you understand what you're telling me, then I'm going to count off for that stuff. Okay. So make sure that you are making things very clear when you are writing things down. All right. So any questions on the conflict analysis piece that you were going to be doing today for the work? Gosh, you guys are so smart. You never have any questions for me. So, okay. All right, any questions on anything else? Oh, I realized I didn't put the audiobook on here. Okay. I'll put the audiobook on here too for anyone that needs it. So for chapter 6 and 7, I forgot to put that on here. Sorry, my bad. And then, so you guys have it. And then, let's see, did I forget anything else? Should you guys have any questions later on, I will be available. My office hours again are 1 to 2 today, if you should need me. And I will have that posted on Classroom, the link on Classroom as usual. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else? I don't want to keep you any longer than I have to. So unless you all have anything for me, I will go ahead and let you go. Get caught up on your work, guys. Get caught up on your work. Please, 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 please get caught up on your work. I have too many zeros in the grade book. Too many zeros. Too many Z's. Too many Z's. All right. If you need help, ask, please, 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 please. All right. Come up here for tutoring. I will help you with whatever you need. All right. You guys have a great day and a great weekend. I will see you all on Monday. Monday. Bye, y'all.